Hi guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today's video is part of a hop. This is part of the hashtag N2S Holiday Sparkle 2 hop from the Not Too Shabby Shop. Now the way this hop is going to work is we are actually having folks showing projects where they use the box of the month, and then there are some folks that are using the stamp and the die of the month like what I've got here. So this is going to be super fun. The price is going to be a $25 gift card to the Not Too Shabby Shop, and you can enter to win between November 7th, today, and November 13th at 11:59 p.m. So the winner is going to be announced over on the Not Too Shabby Shop channel. To be eligible, participants should stop at each location of the hop and leave a comment, and then head on over to the Rafflecopter, link down in the description, and enter there. I would also love for you to check out my channel and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my videos, including a lot of things for the Not Too Shabby Shop. So the products I'm going to be using today is the Stamp and Die of the Month, and this is called Winter Vibes, and it has got these cute little snowmen. Let me hold that up for you guys. Got cute little snowman, a tree, and we've got some sweet sentiments here, and it also comes with coordinating dies for everything. So what my project is going to be today is I'm going to attempt to make an interactive card that I have not done before. I've already cut out some bits basically to give me an idea of how everything works, and you know what? I decided after I had all of the stuff cut out, I'm going to just go ahead and start over from scratch so that I could show you guys what I'm doing instead of trying to explain it, because I'm better at showing than I am at explaining after the fact. So what we're going to need is some 8.5 by 11 cardstock cut in half vertically. So these are going to be 4.25 by 11, right? And then we're going to need some measurements, and I am leaving those all down in the description below for you guys, and I think I'm also going to put it up on the screen somewhere for you too. So let's go ahead and start measuring these out and cutting them out. So the first piece we're going to do at 4.25 by 8.25. So we've got 8 and we've got 1/4, so right about there. So that's going to be the first one. The second one we're going to measure 4.25 by 8.5. I'm just making sure I am where I'm supposed to be, because it doesn't have a half mark, it's got all these 8th marks. Okay, so that is going to be the inside part of our card. And then this one is going to be for the back. So it's going to be 4.25 by 5.75. So now I'm just going to cut each of those with my paper trimmer to get them to the right size. So now we're going to score our panels, and this is going to be forming our entire card and card base. So this first piece is the one that is 4.25 by 8.25, and we're going to score it at 2 3/4. Now one thing I did realize after I did the first one is that if you flip it around, 2 3/4 is also going to be like right at 5.5. So I'm going to go ahead and score this one real quick, and then I can show you. That way you can kind of get the idea of what we're doing, and you can score it on whichever end you want to. So here's my score mark, and so if I put it back in there, it's right at the 5.5 mark. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that down. And this is going to be our front of our A2 size, which is 5.5 by 4.25 inch card base. Okay. The second one we're doing, this is the one that is 4.25 by 8.5. 4.25 by 8.5. Just double checking the measurements, because you can always cut another piece of cardstock without wasting too much time. This one we are going to score at 4.25. Okay. And you guys know 4.25 twice is 8.5, so that means that this is going to be a square card that measures 4.25 by 4.25. Okay, so now we've got that piece. That's going to be the inside of our card. And then this last bit that we've got is 4.25 by 5 3/4, which is just a little bit longer than an A2 size card. And that is perfect. We're going to be scoring it at 5.5. And that leaves us this little 1/4-inch tab that we're going to fold over. That's exactly what we want. Okay, so this is the back. The 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 card is going to be the inside, and then we've got this other piece, which is basically A2 size with an extra flap. That's going to be the front. Next, what you're going to want to do is get a couple of nesting dies. Now, you want to do, I'm going to go with circles, but you can do whatever size you want to. So I want to make sure that the circle is going to, that I get everything positioned far enough from the edge so that I'm able to get the part to show through the circle. So I have put the circle die down as kind of a template, and I'm going to pick up my stamp. And I'm going to start off this one. I'm just going to use some Gina K Design Amalgam ink. It's nice and dark and works great for Copic coloring, although I'm not going to do a whole lot of coloring on this. I mean, they are white snowmen, so it doesn't need a whole lot. Okay. And go ahead and give it a second layer of ink. This is brand new stamps, so whenever you're using those, sometimes they don't take up the ink quite as well as they will when they've gotten a little bit of wear in. And I need a little bit more on my little snowman's little hat. Okay, that looks great. I'm going to put down a second piece of cardstock because I'm going to do a different image on the inside. So this is going to peek through the window at one point, and then we're going to have a different image peeking through at another. And this time I want this cute little snowman that's all by himself. Now I haven't 100% decided if I'm going to have him kind of peeking in from the side, but it doesn't really matter because this is a circle. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and color those guys up. So I think what I want to do is I want to give it a little bit of a background color. You know, I'll kind of break up the white from the rest of the card. So I'm taking one of my markers. This one is AB1, and I'm going to color in behind the rest of my images and just kind of fill all of that in. And this one is kind of, to me, it looks a little bit blue-greeny. But I think that's going to be nice for like a winter, kind of a winter sky-ish. I'm just going to fill all of this in and go around all of my images. I'm not going to be too concerned about where the edge of my die is going to be because I'll be able to fill in if I don't get enough coverage, or if I do too much, the die is going to take care of it on its own. So next I'm going to go in and take care of all of their little noses. Well, actually, this one is the only one that's got a carrot nose. The other two looks like they have coal noses. So I'll go ahead and do that one. This one I use some OR2. That brings a bit of color in. And I don't want to go really, really dark black, I don't think, on these. So let me start off with a lighter one. And this is going to be kind of for all of the little coal pieces. And this one, the reason I'm going with a lighter, I figure the center of the noses I can have as being a lighter color. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the whole thing there on both of these little guys. And then I can come in with the darker ones. And this is going to add a little bit of dimension. Because, you know, these guys, they are adorable, and I'm not doing a lot of coloring on them, but I would like to have a little bit of dimension there too. Okay, so colored around the edges of that piece of coal. And then fill it in. So now it looks a bit rounded. Okay, so those are going to be pretty cute. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the rest of this guy with this IG8, which is the darker color. All of those little bits of coal. I'm just kind of just stippling in the color a little bit, because that's going to be probably the quickest, easiest way to get all of those done without going outside of the lines, right? Okay. So next I think I'm going to go and I'm going to do some browns. So we've got the stick arms for all of them, and then we've got the fence. So let's start off with MB2 for the fence, being lighter brown. And this is our base color. We always start off with a light base color. You can kind of do the reverse order of things, but your base is still going to be the lightest color, right? A lot of folks, and I have done this on a lot of them too, when I know exactly what colors I want to use and how they're going to react, but I am out of practice. You can start off with the darkest first in just the shadow areas and then go forward. But that's not what I'm doing today because, as I mentioned, I'm a bit out of practice. And I'm going to go straight on over the arms because they're going to be a darker brown anyway, and this isn't going to hurt them at all. Same thing for this part of the fence that's right around the trunk. I'm not going to worry too much about that because it again is going to be a darker brown. Okay, next I'm going to come in with my MB3 and 4. My MB4 is pretty dark, so I'm going to use that one for my my shadows and just do a little tiny bit there so I can blend it out. Go ahead and get those little stick arms done. Okay, and then I will use my MB3 to kind of blend that out just a little bit. Okay, and then I think I'm going to go back over this main part of my fence post. I'm going to add a little bit more of that MB2 to kind of even up the tone a little bit, because there was a little bit of streakiness there. And that I think looks pretty good. Do the same thing with this one down here because it was looking a little streaky. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Almost forgot this guy. He needs his little arms done too. Okay, so I think I want to have some brightness in here too. So let's go with some reds for a lot of what they're wearing. I think that'll be... Oh, forgot this guy's arm. Got to get that one done too. There we go. Okay, so this is DR5, and then I've got DR2 as a lighter color, and I think I'm going to start off with this little guy's little hearts. Just have them all kind of that dark red, and then coming up from the edges of his little hat, away from all of the white tufts. And I may come back in with a darker red too, but I haven't decided yet. Okay, we've got DR2, which is my lighter color. Let's see how those look together. Okay, I do need a darker one, so I'm going to switch from DR5 to DR6 for my darker color. That doesn't add a lot of dimension, but it does add a little, and I think that looks good. I'm going to do the same kind of thing with his scarf. Let's have him all matchy-matchy. So coming in and then around the shadow areas of his scarf, and then do the same thing for the parts coming down. This one is kind of where it's like wavy, like almost like ribbon-like. So I'm going to add a little bit of the darker all the way down because it would have a little bit of shadows. And then go back over it with my lighter color. And now it looks like the fabric was kind of, I don't know what the term is, but wasn't flat, so that I think looks pretty good. This guy is mostly done. I do need to add a little bit of color for his snow to give it a little bit of depth, but mostly he's done. I'm going to go on with this little guy's hat ribbon and do the same thing with the red, and then I think I want his scarf and earmuffs to be red too. So let's add some of that dark red in. And then for his scarf, I'm going to do this one as red and white stripes and just go straight with just this dark one and leave it at that, I think. Okay, that one again was the DR6, and then I'm going to come back in with my DR2 for the rest of the areas that still need some more color. Oh, and I almost forgot the little heart. We don't want to forget the heart on his chest. Okay. So other than that, I do need some blacks again for this one for his little hat. And I think I'm going to go a little bit darker than the coal. So I'm going to start off with the DR6 again as the lighter, and then I'm going with IG8 IG6 and IG9. Starting off with IG6 as the lightest and IG9 as the darkest. This time though, I'm going to start off with the darker one and just come in a little bit from the sides. I always think of Snowman as having a black top hat. I have no idea if that is accurate or not because I'm in Florida and it doesn't get, we don't get snow. Okay, so coming back over with the with the IG6. Don't know why I am thinking so much about my reds. It looks like this marker is getting a little dry, so I'm going to try to do some with the chisel, and then if that's not good enough, then I will go back and see if I've got a refill, which I think I do. Okay, so that looks pretty good for the top of his hat. Let's get the brim. Okay, so now he's got his little top hat on. And then what I think I'm going to do for the snow is I'm going to use these. Now this is a BGR. So I think this one is like a bluish gray. I think it's got a little bit of a blue-gray tone. I'm just going to do a little bit of shadowing on here just to bring out, kind of make it so it doesn't look like it's white, so it looks like you actually did something. And that's just kind of going around the edges, and I'm not going to use a lot. And then do a little bit underneath where there would have been some natural shadows, like right around the scarf. And this guy, it looks like he's pretty much done. Okay, so that one's all good. Take that back. I am going to put a little bit around the face too to give them a little bit of that curved look. Okay, and we can do a little bit of that still on the snow as well. Kind of where there would have been some a little bit of shadowing in the crevices where the snow would have been falling. Okay, I'm going to do the same kind of thing with my little snowman here around his face and around his body. Okay, so this guy, well, take that back. I was about to say he was done, but I forgot to go around underneath the edge of his hat. So that's all I'm doing for the snow. That is it. Only other thing that is left on this one is we've got this tree, and I do want to make it kind of a nice pretty green. Let me test out a couple of my AGs. This one is my lightest. That may be perfect for it. Thinking that might work. So after a failed attempt trying to put the card together, I'm going to go and try it one more time. Basically what I did wrong, I'm going to show you. I don't have the pieces, but I actually cut it out twice. I went with too large of a circle here. This one is approximately, I think it's like right at, it's just under 3 inches, so it's 2 3/4. It's actually too big for this to work, at least where I had it positioned. So I am going to be smart, and I'm going to basically change it down to a much smaller. Now, the video that I watched from Jennifer McGuire, it was where she used a 2-inch. So this is a 2-inch, and then this larger one is going to be where I'm going to be cutting out my colored images, and this one is about 2.5. And if that turns out to be too big, it's going to be okay because I'll be able to trim it down a little bit for it to fit behind our smaller circles. That is what I'm going to go with at this point. Now, okay, next we're going to go with our smaller die. And the way this is going to work, I'm going to cut a circle kind of up here. And I need to make sure that I've got enough room on the outside for that little extra, because that's another thing that I did on the first round. I think part of it was that the circles were too big, and part of it was that it was too close to the edge. So I don't want it to be too close to the edge, but I do want it to be kind of in that upper right-hand corner. So I'm going to go with, this looks about right. So I'll go ahead and tape that down and then run this through my die cutting machine. Okay, so that cut out fine. We remove the die. And next we're going to line up that card that goes on the inside of our card. And I'm going to make sure that it's going to fit perfect by taping it in place for the moment. and tracing a little circle, tracing that circle that I had already cut. So now I know it is in exactly the right spot. That circle is at least in the exact correct spot, okay? Now I'm going to line up my circle die right on that circle that I just did. Okay. And I want to make sure that it's perfect, so I'm going to use this as a template. So I'm putting my circle that I just cut out down as a template, laying that in place, and then I can place my die right over the top of it. I'm trying to make sure that I don't let anything shift. Okay, there we go. So that is perfectly lined up. And then I'm going to take that little piece out that I've used as a template and then tape the rest down. This is going to make it so it's a little bit easier for this die to cut through my panel. Because what I really want is I want it to cut through both sides. So I'm going to try running it through with both. It's probably not going to cut through both at once though. You can see it didn't cut all the way through that second side, but it did leave an imprint. So that is good. I'm going to just take that die off. Okay, so now I'm going to puzzle piece this one into that groove, tape it in place, and then run that through my die cutting machine again. So the way that this is going to work is we're going to line it up right with that circle on the edge. And then we're going to be able to see our little critter that gets popped in there. So the other piece, the third piece that we had was 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. And then we had a score mark at 5 1/2. So that basically gives us a panel that is A2 size with a little flap. So that is perfect. We're going to go ahead and attach this to our card, and then we can start adding some things on. You can stamp on the panel first before you start adding things. I had done that on the first one, and I figured I would still use those bits that I messed up. I would go ahead and use those bits on this card. So I've already got all the images that I want to use all ready to go. So first off, we're going to put this panel, this back panel, we're going to put that one on, and to do that we're going to use some score tape. This is some Sukwing score tape, which is some pretty strong score tape. You could of course use your art glitter glue. I'm just going to burnish this one down. And this again is the front of my card, and it opens this way, so this needs to go down like this. So to do that, I'm going to line it up with the edge of my scoreboard. Going right there, right to the edge, and just fold this bit down so that it is still straight. Okay. And it looks like it's just a touch off, and I'm going to say that that is close enough. Okay, so now we can start working on adhering the front on. Now to do that, it's going to be much easier. We're just going to take our, where'd I put it? Going to take our dot liner adhesive and add our adhesive all over the front here. And then we are going to line it up. This is one reason why I did that extra checking multiple times with the tape before getting all the cutting. I wanted to make sure this part was perfect. Okay. And then this bit here just tucks right in. So now our card base is pretty much done, okay? Now we get to start decorating. Before I go through the trouble of putting everything on the front, I'm going to make sure that my things that I'm going to put on the inside are going to work. It's already got adhesive on the back because, again, I did try that one earlier. I want my little snowman to go in the front here. And the way that this one works, when it's open, we're basically going to have two scenes. We're going to have one scene that's going to be shown when it's open, and we're going to have another scene shown when it is one scene when it's closed and one scene when it's open. So this is the open scene, this is the closed scene. So we're going to place this one. This is actually going to be adhered to the back of our card. So let's open it all up. I'm going to place this right where I think I want it, and then come to the front to position our little snowman just right where I want it, and then we're going to close it. Close that back flap. So now our little snowman is right there. And then when we open it up, he's covered up. Okay? And then for our other piece, I'm going to do the same kind of thing, but we need it to be behind the second panel. We need it to go tucked in there, right? So for that, I'm going to do the same kind of thing. It's already got adhesive on the back. And I don't know if I need to trim any of the panel off. I'm going to add a little bit more on there, just be on the safe side. And we're going to put it in place. And I think I want... Oh, darn it. The hole is so small that this little critter isn't really going to show that much. Which is one reason why I went with the bigger holes before. I'm going to run with it. We're going to go with it. And we're going to be able to see them through the window. It's just not going to show as much as what I would have liked to have shown. But that is okay. So I am holding it in place. Just holding it in place right there. And then we're going to... press it down. Okay, that is it. Okay, let's see. So it is a little bit over the edge, so I know I'm going to need to trim that off. So let me grab my scissors. Trim that off the edge there. Okay, and now is the moment of truth. We are going to test this out and see if it works. So there's our little snowman, our single snowman, and then we open it up. There's our our dad and kid, I don't know. And I can see a little bit of the background when we move it around too. So I think that is going to work. That is going to be fine. Okay. For the front, I do want to add a little bit of embellishment to the front because, you know, the front is by itself is kind of boring. So I'm going to add one of my little trees, and the sentiment "let it snow," that I think is going to be cute. Just adding that with some tape runner. And I think I want this one to be kind of cockeyed, a little bit offset there. There we go. And then I'll add some adhesive to the back of my "let it snow." So there is the front of our card. Then when we open it up, got another sentiment that says "Merry Everything," and I've got another tree. So let me go ahead and add the adhesive on the back of both of those. Put the little tree there. And the tree, it does help to fill out that scene a little bit more too. And then our "Merry Everything." That is going to finish up my peekaboo card for this hop with Not Too Shabby, using the Not Too Shabby Stamp and Die of the Month Winter Vibes. I think that turned out super cute. I am glad that I was able to accomplish that one. I was beginning to wonder a little bit. Well, I hope that this video has inspired you and let you know that, you know what, if I can make it, you can too. I will see you guys later on my next video. Check out this playlist to see some more projects where I'm using Not Too Shabby products, and you have a wonderful day. Bye guys.